the yacht broker wasn't just a yacht broker, evidently had a canvas business too.
Oh, the
So-
Fastnet.
The Fastenet. So to keep his people busy during the fall, he made up all kinds of canvas things, including a cockpit awning that had ash battens in it, with the full length of the boom, and was wonderful for the sailing school. I don't know if you remembered it all. It came down and tied to the lifelines, and tied around the mast, tied around the far end of the boom. And that was a big long boom, and it just covered everything just beautifully.
I don't remember that at all.
So, which was good to keep us out of the sun on a hot day or whatever.
That's nice.
He had canvas made up. He had a Dodger made up. It was a small one, but it was a Dodger. He had canvas made up. Even though it was a stainless steel wheel, it still had a canvas cover for it.
Canvas rather than leather.
Yeah, no. This is to hide. It was as if she had a wooden wheel or something to cover it over entirely.
That is interesting.
It had on the hatches. She had some plexiglass hatches that let the light in, and he had canvas, yellow canvas that went over that and snapped on.
I remember that actually.
I think he was a dealer for British Seagull Outboard Motors. Plus, I think he must have been a dealer for Zodiacs too, because for that $70,000, we got the Zodiac, we got the British Seagull Outboard Motor, we got all this canvas stuff. Grandpa was very blessed to get that boat for that price, with all the extras that he did to it.
That was also a lot of money back then. I mean, the reality was,
Yeah,
this is upper echelon.
yeah, but for that boat,
But he got a fair deal on it, or a good deal, based upon all the stuff he
got.
got.
A good deal on it, yeah. Yeah.
He is a McVeigh, after all.
Well, the Lord, if you think about it, the Lord blessed him in his boats over the years.
Oh, absolutely.
That,
Well, part of it is he raced well, and then that increased the value of the boat.
yes, especially with the 35-foot weekender. If I remember right, I think he paid $5,300 or $5,500 for it. Okay, now it needed a lot of work. She had a mahogany cockpit. She had mahogany everywhere. She was built. The entire hull was all mahogany.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never saw the Weekender.
Yeah. So anyway, and what Grandpa did on that one was that she was in Jamestown by a fellow by the name of Wetherell owned it, and Grandpa had the boatyard give an estimate of what it would take, because the boat, I think, had been up in the yard for a year or two, and all, what would it take to put her back into shape. So that's, I know he was asking an awful lot more than what Grandpa paid for it, but the boatyard bill to put it in shape, even in those days, would have been an awful lot.
Yep.
So Grandpa bought it for somewhere around $5,000 or so, because she had won the Bay Championship, she'd won off sounding, she'd won all kinds of races.
You mean after he was done with her?
Well, Grandpa owned it.
While he owned it, he increased the value by winning these things, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he
Yes.
sold it
Yep.
for $10,000.
Yep. I didn't know it was that high. Wow.
It just at a time when the wooden boat market was still good.
Yeah.
After that, when fiberglass came out, the wooden boat market just dropped in value because of all the labor it was to maintain them compared with fiberglass. So Grandpa got the maximum amount he could possibly have gotten out of that boat. So when he bought the Block Island 40, now at the time he bought the Block Island 40, it was considered to be probably the fastest ocean racing yawl in the world.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
That's why all the big shots, all the people with money like Ted Turner, bought one.
I didn't know Ted Turner bought one. I know John Nicholas Brown bought one.
Yep, Dennis Van Allen Clark of Avon had one. DuPont had one.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
All the big money had Block Island 40s. And I forget, even in the '62 Bermuda race, we were one of several Block Island 40s in the race.
Hmm.
I can't remember how many. I know
Then what happened to that race? Because you guys didn't. You were expected to win, right?
we expected to win. We had won everything, even though we didn't have the best sales in the world. We had won everything up to that time, and we were doing very well in the race. I was on board, and we had one day of absolute flat calm.
Yeah.
Cigarette smoke went straight up. The
Yep.
ocean was calm.
Yep.
The boat probably didn't move 100 yards.
Yep.
And some of the other people that were further to the east, I believe,
Yeah, they caught the wind.
never ran out of the wind.
Okay.
Oh.
I knew part of that story. I never knew the end of the story. All right.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
So that's the way it goes. You can't,
Yeah, you can't make the wind
In
appear.
fact, I remember, one of the beer cans when when one of the crew members finished a beer can at noontime, dropped it. You could see it go right down because we were in the Gulf Stream. You could see it down to about 80 feet.
Oh my goodness.
The boat hadn't moved.
It
at
hadn't
all.
moved.
Beer can just
Oh,
went
that's rough.
down. Yeah.
You ever catch any tuna on the trips or
No.
no?
I think I told you about the flying fish.
Go ahead.
On the way back from Bermuda, we were in a following sea of about 20 to 25 knots worth of sea, and Uncle Ken was on board. He didn't race with us, but he was on the way back, and he had just opened up his last carton of cigarettes.
Uh-oh.
And a huge wave comes over, just a rogue wave comes over from the stern, right into the cockpit, right into his last carton of cigarettes.
I never heard this story.
And there was a flying fish in the wave
No.
that landed in the cockpit. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Now, what was the story with the flying fish in the frying pan? That was a different story.
That was a
That
different
might have been
story.
one of Grandpa's stories. He didn't end up in the, in the frying pan. Not on this particular trip or anything anyway. I'm sure
All right.
it could happen.
My understanding was that it was early morning. Somebody had put a cast iron pan on the alcohol stove to warm it up, went to the head, and then a flying fish flew into the boat, and somebody took it down and put it into the frying pan. And he came out and said, "Oh, the flying fish flew right down into the pan. I saw it happen."
no.
So you don't remember that story?
Ah,
Oh yeah,
well,
that was a classic. I thought you were the one that told me that story.
it could be that I forgot that aspect of it.
Yeah, no, I'm
with
pretty-
that interesting crew that we had, I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
I'm almost 100% certain that you told me. Yeah,
Could
that
be
somebody ran it down, threw it in the frying pan, and he said the flying fish flew right into the pan, and
Oh my gosh.
and for years everybody
Yep, I forgot
kept that a secret.
Yeah, Dad's memory isn't bad, but that was 1962.
Okay, well, my memories of that year aren't so good. So
Oh, come on now. You were minus. Okay. You were in the minus at that time.
-15.
Yeah.